Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 11 Angry Men podcast. In this one, we're going to be doing a one-round mock draft. Accompanying me is Donovan. So the way this is going to go is I'm going to have the first pick, he's going to have the second, and we're just going to rotate through. So with the first overall pick, in my opinion, the Jags got a lot of holes, but they're definitely going edge here. There's been a lot of hype recently about Trayvon Walker going here. I don't really see it. If it were up to me, I'd stick to the guns and just take Aiden Hutchinson. Walker was a combine freak. The numbers he put up were insane. But the production didn't really match all the hype. And that Georgia defensive line was just absolutely stacked. So I'm going to take Aiden Hutchinson first overall.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great pick. I won't say who I would have took because you all did, but I do think it makes a whole lot of sense for Jacksonville to just take the quote unquote safe pick, as it were, between the two. Walker might be like the home run. Like, yeah, if you hit on Walker and the combine is true, then yeah, you just got a home run. But I think Aiden Hutchinson is a lock for 8 to 10 sacks and an immediate defensive impact. So it makes a whole lot of sense for a team that like needs certified studs to plug holes. I think it was Hutchinson. So that's a good pick. For number 2, the Detroit Lions, another team with a ton of holes. I think, unlike Jacksonville in a way, just slightly different. I think Jacksonville should go, or excuse me, I think Detroit should go for the home run, personally. I think that if I'm Detroit and Aiden Hutchinson is off the board, I'm not missing Trayvon Walker. I'm taking the next best, future guy. I'm sure offensive lineman might be a good idea. I'm sure, corner isn't a bad idea, but I'm going Trayvon as number 2.
Yeah, I think he'd fit in pretty well in Detroit, especially with their head coach.
Yeah.
He wants those dogs, and he'd literally be getting a dog.
Yep, there you go. It makes too much sense if he's on the board there. I don't think they're going to pass him. So
that brings us to the number 3 pick, the Houston Texans. Houston's got some pretty big holes. Wide receiver, their O-line's pretty spotty. Their D-line's not that great. Their linebackers are just okay. Their corners, I'd say, are about the same. They could use a safety as well. This team's definitely a couple years away from contending.
Sad. Very, very, very interesting.
Oh, yeah. With that being said, I would take Sauce Gardner with this pick.
Interesting.
Get the top corner in the draft. Right now, their corner room has Desmond King, Lonnie Johnson, Steven Nelson, Traymon Smith, Isaac Yiadom, Jimmy Moylan.
I would say, not to step on the toes. I don't think it's a bad room. It's a bad room.
Yeah.
That's the names, but yeah, keep going.
I could also see how they could also be interested in Ikem Ekwonu, because the right tackle listed right now is either Charlie Heck or Cedric Agbui. Which is, that tells you by itself. They could also use edge. They got Grenard, who had a good season last year. And right now they have slated in as Kingsley Keke as their starting DN, which doesn't make sense if they were going to run a 4-3 defense. Kayvon Thibodeau makes sense. He's being compared to Jadeveon Clowney. There's just those off-the-field concerns, or not even off-the-field concerns, just work ethic concerns.
Yeah.
That I think are valid. You have to take into consideration. And if you're taking a top 3 pick, you should take somebody not only with upside, but is safe, a cornerstone pick. And I think Sauce Gardner fits that bill.
I agree with that. Okay, like I didn't expect to pull the trigger on Sauce. I was hoping secretly he followed the Ravens at 14, but I wish in an ideal world, even though I'm sure we'll get to the Ravens, I'll save my Ravens talk. Pick four. Get the Jets. A lot of holes. I was really hoping Sauce Gardner would be here at four because if Sauce Gardner in real life is here at four, I think this is why personally I think falls to four. I think if they get him, but if he goes three, I think you go similar to Jags and you go best available. That's kind of I can slot him in day one. He's going to start. I'm going to get production out of him. Personally, I think that's Evan Neal. I think it makes too much sense. Helps your running game. It helps protect Zach Wilson, who's obviously your franchise player. And I really want to get Thibodeau here. I really want to. I really want to slot him in. And it's Robert Saleh. It's turning guys into defensive studs. But I don't know. If I'm the Jets, I'm not risking a bust right here at three or at four, which could really be painful. Then you got two top 10 picks. For the first one, I'm going safe. I'm going Evan Neal. Easy pick. Makai, I know he's there, but it doesn't hurt to have two. So I'm going Evan Neal all day.
My question for you would be, if you do go with the Evan Neal, would Makai move to right tackle, or would you move Evan Neal to right tackle?
I am 100%, 100% moving Evan Neal to right tackle. I love Makai Becton left tackle. He can play. Both of them are similar players, but
Yeah,
and I know Makai's coming off an injury, but I'm keeping Makai right where he is. He's great. And Evan Neal, I feel like, is the road grader type tackle in this draft. I'm slotting him right at right tackle, and I'm expecting Pro Bowl by year two. So I think it's a great fit.
yeah. And similarly to how you're talking about in a perfect world, Ahmad Gardner's there at four for the Jets. I think in the perfect world for the Giants, Trayvon Walker falls to him. He would fit in perfectly in that 3-4 defense.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he's off the board. And since Evan Neal just went with the fourth pick, I feel like it's going to push their hand and they're going to take the next best offensive tackle. It's really like 1A, 1B, according to some people, which is Ikem Ekwonu. They have big holes, especially at right tackle. Right now, they currently have Matt Gano and Corey Cunningham slotted on ESPN step chart. Neither of those guys are NFL comp. So taking Ikem Ekwonu definitely fills a hole, and he's probably the best available player at this position.
Yep, I'd agree. Like you said, those two guys, they named, never even heard of them, so that's all I need to know. I personally have Charles Cross just for pass blocking. I think he arguably the best pass blocker in the draft.
Yep.
And Giants, I don't see being much. Well, we'll see what they do. The Giants, I think, need help everywhere. I think they're one of the worst teams in the league, but obviously, since what I'm picking here. But Kwan is a great pick. Let's see, moving to 6, Carolina, one of the first, I think, trade bag spots possibly of the draft. I don't think we're doing. I don't know if we're doing that, but I don't know personally. This is, I think, a very, very tough position in the draft. I think it's going to be the first spot of the night where people are going to be like, it might be a surprise pick, or might be, who knows? Honestly, who knows? But I got to go with my gut. I know it's crazy. I got to go with what I think happens. And I really do think that right here, if it's not a trade back, assuming it's not a trade back, I think they swing for the fences, and I think they go Malik Willis. I think who the fans do not want to see, in my opinion, if I'm a Carolina fan, which I'm not, but if I was, I do not want to see another test year of just Sam Darnold, because he's going to play like shit, and they're going to funnel in some other guys. You're going to see a PJ Walker game. I don't want to see that. Why not? We got a young coach. Malik Willis can remind young fans of what Cam Newton sort of was doing, hype-wise at least. If it's not a trade back, which I think it might be, I'm the Panthers. I'm swinging for the fences. So, in my opinion, I think Malik Willis goes much earlier than people think. I think he goes right
here. I agree with that, yeah. if anything, you can use Sam Darnold as that bridge gap quarterback if you find out in training camp that Willis isn't indeed ready.
Yep.
However, it'd be tough to see Willis not be comp to Sam Darnold or PJ Walker, you know?
It's,
So,
I cannot. I get people say, it's like Sam Darnold. You hear Sam Darnold joke, okay, yes, he's back. Like, he's been here for a couple of years. And, like, he's not piss poor, but you know good and well what you're getting. You know good and well what you're not getting, and you're not getting wins. Like, there's no, and he's not, you don't want him. The team doesn't want him. He's just, I think, I don't like teams that just kind of, I'm very on record of really not liking the team. It's just keep these kind of bridge quarterbacks for a long period of time, just because, like, they don't want to risk other things. If I'm a team and I'm thinking early and there's young quarterbacks who can make a difference, even just to get the fans excited, I think that's an important part of football. Like, just think of how much fanfare comes from having Malik Willis. You spend a top 6 pick on him. You know he's going to be exciting. He's going to bring media attention. He's going to bring Bleacher Report. He's going to bring new fans. I'm getting Malik Willis. So we'll see.
yeah,
I think
it's good for the team and the brand. With the second pick for the Giants, I'm looking at their roster right now, running a 3-4 defense. They could use another interior D lineman. Right now they have Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. At their nose, they have David Moa and Justin Ellis. Isn't really the best.
Nah.
However, I think it's a little bit too early for a Jordan Davis or even a Devontae Wyatt. So with that being said, I'm actually going to take Kyle Hamilton with this pick. Their current safeties are Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. I think he could start over Love, and him and McKinney could have a formidable duo, possibly. And he's not just a safety, you know, he's a big body. They could also move him around into the nickel or at like a weak side linebacker position if they need. I just think that it opens up a lot of versatility. So I think the Giants snatch Kyle Hamilton here.
Honestly, I love the pick. The only thing is, I think this is just me purely being a Giants hater. I think that is way too smart of a pick for the Giants to make. Like, I 100 billion% see them doing something stupid here with the second pick. Or maybe not stupid, not the right word. Doing something surprising. Or I don't have a better word. Just fucking up. I think that is such a great pick. I think I'm going to slip too far. Or at least, I mean, who knows where we'll go. But I think I've heard him slipping too far. I think I'm in the top 5 pick draft. Just off versatility, talent, ceiling, a lot of things. And the Giants, I think, will be over the moon to get Kyle Hamilton right here. So I think it's a good pick. But I do think it's too smart for them. I think, yeah, we'll see.
If they can walk out with Icky and Kyle Hamilton, Giants fans will be doing backflips.
They would. And that safety duo, look, he's going to start on the Love. So that's a given. But that duo of McKinney, as you said, and that's too smart. I don't know. We'll see. So, one second. My thing is froze. Okay. So, we get the Falcons on the board. Pick 8. I think there's almost a guarantee, in my opinion, if they don't trade back, because they could certainly trade these. I think a lot of these picks that we're going through are trade back spots. But assuming they don't trade back, I think pick 8 is the most obvious spot and most locked spot for a receiver. Calvin Ridley's toast. Yeah. Right now that way. Calvin Ridley's dumbass was betting on game. Got caught. It's Calvin Ridley's toast. You got a young team, young quarterback, or just young team. Who knows who the first quarterback, or excuse me, I can't talk right now. First receiver off the board is going to be. I know Trey, word to Trey Voss, thinks it's going to be Drake London. Personally, I do not. I think this pick is going to be Garrett Wilson, pick Ohio State wide receiver. Not my favorite player in the world. Not my favorite receiver I've ever watched. I'm also a massive Ohio State receiver hater, but I think it makes too much sense. Cameron's gone. I don't know, Russian Gage, I think, is gone. I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I should know. Maybe you could look up who their projected number one receiver is. I don't even. I have no
Right
idea who it is.
now, it would be Olamide Zacchaeus.
Oh, dude, Zacchaeus. Hey, go Hoos. He's a wahoo. I watched him play. But nah, I'm sorry. Not a chance. I would say if I was a betting man, which I will not be betting on this, but I think it's an almost 99% chance that they draft a receiver right here. So I'll go Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's probably going to be receiver or edge, depending on how they feel on Thibodeau or like a Jermaine Johnson, even.
Mhm.
Seahawks here. This is another obvious pick. They better get an offensive tackle here. I'm looking at their depth chart. Their starting left tackle is Greg Island, and their right tackles currently are Jake Curhan and Stone Forsythe. Yeah. So they're going to take Charles Cross right here, and they're going to give whoever they figure out to be their quarterback at least some time and protection to find DK and Tyler Lockett downfield.
I like it. I like Charles Cross a lot. Huge fan. Huge fan. Seahawks over the moon with, like I said, another big bet. I think Seahawks draft well typically, so I won't say that they're not smart enough to do this, but great selection. So moving right along, I mean we are at pick 10. The Jets back on the board. I think that's an excellent opportunity for the Jets to get better this draft. Just like the Giants, but really the Jets. I think this could be a very, very pivotal draft if they execute this well. I said earlier, I think Sauce Gardner goes 4, so let's assume he doesn't, though. I think that there's a lot of spots here that they can go. They could go for the future and get a Jameson Williams, who I think a year from now would make a massive difference on this team. They could go Drake London. They could go, Stingley. I can't say his name. But I think it's a very good spot for one Jermaine Johnson. Edge, get a pass rusher, help your team out. Robert Saleh, I hope I'm saying his name right. If I was him, my first 2 picks would go on defense, and just make that your identity. But if not, one of them has to be. So I'll go best edge rusher left, Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, I like that pick personally. Jermaine Johnson lit it up at the Senior Bowl. Seems like a pretty safe pick.
Yep. I hope so.
Washington, they could go a lot of directions too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could use
What are you thinking?
another receiver. We could use, in my opinion, a linebacker. They definitely could use a safety. They lost a few this offseason. But I think it's too early for a linebacker. And I mean, obviously, if Kyle Hamilton was here, that would be the pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go probably wide receiver. They have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Diami Brown, Cam Sims. They're all pretty good, but they lack that jump ball receiver. And I think I'm going to give him Drake London here.
Drake, well, there he goes. Pick 10, pick 11. Okay, I like it. Drake London a lot. That's a good pick. I think, like you said, I think you hinted at, if Kyle Hamilton's on the board, this is about the easiest pick of all time. If he's on the board there. Also could be a trade up scenario for a lot of teams. The Ravens, Texans, Cowboys. They could all use a trade up. So I think this is a great pick. I think Drake London is a lot. I like it. Drake London a lot. That's a good pick. I think, like you said, I think you hinted at, if Kyle Hamilton's on the board, this is about the easiest pick of all time. If he's on the board there. Also could be a trade up scenario for a lot of teams, the Ravens, teams looking to either get any of the players that are still left. But Drake London, good pick. And I think that makes Carson Wentz has significantly less. What's the word? Less. I don't know. He has significantly more help. Give him Drake London. Give him Terry McLaurin. He's got real no excuses. That's weapons. So good pick.
Yeah, and if you look historically, Carson Wentz always does well when he has that big body receiver, like Michael Pittman Jr. last year.
Yeah.
So getting him Drake London will, I think, help his transition in Washington.
Yeah, it's a good pick. After this, it gets a little tougher each pick, but I think that it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people here again, but personally, I'm going best available from the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are a bad football team. I don't think they're like too far out of contention. Obviously, they're far out. Don't get me wrong, but they're not like ridiculously far out. And like they don't have. I mean, I could be wrong here, but not like massive clearing holes. So personally, I'm going best available, and best available on my board right now is Stingley. Once again, I cannot say the thing. So Stingley.
Yeah, Stingley.
Okay, I'm so bad with his name. All right, so yeah, Stingley corner. It makes a lot of sense. I don't personally think he's all that good, but I think it's a fit. So best available. I'm going Stingley here.
Got you. Next up, the Texans. First pick, I gave him Sauce Gardner. Looking over their roster again, their right tackle position needs an upgrade. Their wide receiver room, honestly, could use an upgrade. Defensive end could use an upgrade. Out of all these that are left available, might make a little bit of a surprising pick. Kayvon Thibodeau kind of makes sense. At 13, it's not like, if he busts, it's not as bad as taking him at number 3. But looking at their right tackle and seeing Charlie Heck, I'm going to take Trevor Penny here. Especially if they want to give Davis Mills a fair shot next year. I mean, he did a very decent job last year with what he had. Surrounding him with more talent will really give the Texans a better chance moving forward, considering next year is supposed to be a better quarterback class. So it's better to like give him the weapons now, see what he's got, make your decision after the season so that you can set yourself up for the future.
Yep, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. That's a good pick. Even though I have been seeing on Twitter a lot of people shitting on Trevor Penny, at least in Raven circles. Maybe it's just I'm in Raven circles, but a lot of people have been saying his Senior Bowl production his tape looks kind of ugly. Looks like he's going to be a penalty-heavy player. I liked him before the Senior Bowl, so I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon just because of what people are saying, but I have seen a lot of people, at least especially in Raven circles, saying they do not like a do not draft type player. So for that reason, I'm glad you took him, because if he was there in real life at 14, I think the Ravens might pull the trigger, and I would probably be a little upset, a little bit, because let's say it's also the same scenario in real life where big old Kayvon Thibodeau is there at 14. There is no way in hell we do not pick him here. So I don't have to say anything else other than Kayvon Thibodeau is going here if he's on the board, guaranteed. If he's there at pick 11, we're trading up and getting him. I would put my entire life on that. He's not making it past the Ravens. We need rushers. We have the coaching to develop him. We have the leaders to develop him. We've got the brass to develop him. We've got a winning culture. No, really not much more to be said. A talent like that is not making it past the Ravens. And if he's even 70% of what he could be, then the Ravens defense just got significantly better. So can't let that obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I know you'd be ecstatic. I know the Ravens flock would be as well. Getting a player of his potential at 14, given even though his bust potential, I mean, that'd be a steal, honestly. Be a great pick.
And honestly, if he busts, I don't think I would care. Not to maybe that isn't the best thing to say, but like if he is not good, we're not hurting. Like our defense, our pass rush is already what it is. Like, and Jason Owe is, I think, Adafe Owe, I think, is a fantastic player in his own right. So helping him out anyway is good. So if he busts, it's not like we're gonna, whereas if the Jets pick a guy or if even the Panthers pick Malik Willis and he's ass, they're hate. But so I'm perfectly comfortable swinging for the fences there.
Yeah. Next up is the Eagles. Looking at their roster, they actually don't have many holes, to be honest.
So
I think so. I think this team's very competitive. Just looking at their roster, they could use an upgraded wide receiver, but I think that they could wait till their next first round pick.
yeah.
I mean, they might be a little weak at edge considering Brandon Graham's age, but they still have Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat. Their interior D line is probably one of the best in the league. Their linebackers are solid. I'd have to take a corner here. You have Darius Slay, you have Avonte Maddox, but behind that, you have like Zach McPherson, Josiah Scott, Kerry Vincent Jr., Tay Owen, Mac McCain. Those are more just like depth special teams players. So adding a third player in there would definitely help out the squad. It's just picking a corner out of these. Because honestly, Kyler Gordon to Trent McDuffie, I'd almost put in like the same pool talent-wise. Andrew Booth, I know a lot of people are super high on. Kyer Elam, a lot of people are high on him too, given his man coverage abilities. Trent McDuffie's an absolute dog. I mean, Slay's an outside corner. Maddox is an outside corner. So I'm probably going to take McDuffie here just because I feel like he could man up that slot position. And I think that, honestly, McDuffie, he was a sleeper a while ago, but a lot of people have waken up to his film. I mean, the guy's nasty on film. He gets after it. He's definitely one of those like tough, rugged, gritty, plays till the whistle blows, can play different coverages. He looks very solid. So I think the Eagles would be pretty well off if they got Trent McDuffie at 15.
Okay. I can't hate on that. I think that's a great. They've, like you said, they are. I would say they're definitely a solid team. I liked them a lot last year. I was like, I think they might, make a tiny bit of noise. But yeah, I think there's many, depending how things shake out in front of them, there's many ways they can go. I don't think fans would be mad at a receiver. I don't think they would be mad at a linebacker, even if it was slightly reach. I don't think they'd be mad at a corner. I don't think they'd be mad at Jordan Davis. I think there's a lot of options they could go. So getting a guy like McDuffie there, I think is a good pick. So now we've got the Saints. Once again, this draft's going to be interesting because we got a lot of these teams where they're not ass, but they're a little average and they could use like some of these like meat and potato guys to just bolster their depth. And I think the Saints are a great example. Not too many glaring holes. You could argue like offensive tackle is a glaring hole because they just lost Scott Armstead. But like I don't think offensive tackle is even a glaring weakness. Ramczyk is an all-pro. James Hurst is not great. He's not like the worst tackle of all time. He's got help. Like, Pete's not bad. Ford's like they have a decent line. I don't think I've seen people saying like a receiver here is a pick. Personally, I don't think the receiver room is bad. I don't think Marquez Callaway and Michael Thomas is a bad receiver room. And Traquan Smith, excuse me. But I think I think it makes a lot of sense here to go either interior D line with Jordan Davis to get a quarterback for the future, or to get a receiver to help out Jameis Winston any way you can, and maybe if you guys can be a sneaky team, just have enough firepower. So I'm just going to go with what I think is most likely here. I think they're going to get the home run hitting receiver, and I think they're going to go Chris Olave. I really wanted to pick Jordan Davis here because I think he's going to make him, Cameron Jordan really upgrade that D line. So maybe it's Davis here, but I'm going to go the home run receiver just in case. Hey, let's say we make a run, we sneak into the playoffs, and we need weapons. Chris Olave, as opposed to Jameson Williams, who may or may not be there, as in may or may not be playing. Chris Olave can step in and maybe be a home run hitter there. So Chris Olave is the thing.
Yeah, Chris Olave is a guy that I have a lot of respect for. Just his route running ability. He can get open. If you try to play off, GG's, the only way to really stop him or slow him down is to play press. But not a lot of teams do it 100% of the time. So Olave is destined to get his. And he's got that speed to help Jameis, because we all know Jameis likes to throw deep.
Oh, yeah.
The Chargers, they got a couple holes on their roster, just looking at it. Right now, their right guard is Brandon Hymus. Their right tackle is Storm Norton. Their right defensive end is Braden Fehoko, although I doubt Fehoko is actually the starter. They added some guys like Christian Covington, Sebastian Joseph Day. So they have some depth there. Obviously, their big free agent was J.C. Jackson, which is definitely bolsters their defensive back room. Looking at this, I don't think Raymond should go this early, so tackle's probably out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Davis is probably the fan favorite pick right now if he falls this far. I'm going to take Jordan Davis. It was between Jordan Davis and Zion Johnson. Because honestly, if you give that man Justin Herbert all the time in the world, he's going to pick apart any defense. Yeah. I'm a big Herbert believer. I mean, I'm a Raider fan, so I get to see this guy a lot. And he puts up yards, puts up touchdowns. I mean, he has a good supporting cast around him with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, even like Jalen Guyton. He's a solid slot receiver. They added Gerald Everett. So their offense should be just as good as it was last year. But their defense really struggled at stopping the run. And the knock on Jordan Davis might be, he stands up too tall. People doubt whether he'll give you a ton of production in pass rushing. If you watch his tape, he was just so much bigger and faster than guys that he would just beat them off the line and it was over. But in the NFL, when he's going to be going up against guys like, Quentin Nelson or something like that, you're not just going to beat them off the line and they're not going to be able to handle your size. You got to actually have pass rush moves. So I think he fills the need of the run stopping right away. And, they've got guys in there like Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. I know they're different positions, but if they can work with him on pass rushing moves, I think they could have something very special in Jordan Davis.
Yeah, I really hope that's not the pick. I am as you, I'm sure if you keep up with the FIFA chat, I'm a massive Jordan Davis leader. I would be very ecstatic if the Ravens got him at 14, but obviously Thibodeau, they were not passing on him. But if it's not Thibodeau, I think Jordan Davis. I would be so happy because I think he instantly makes any D line terrifying in all aspects of the word because the dude's huge. I don't think, of course, the tape, or the production wasn't all the way that people wanted. But honestly, even if he's not a top 16 pass D tackle, I don't even care. The dude's stuff in the run, and that's a given. I think he's going to be a Vita Vea-like run stuffer right away. And you know what?
Yeah.
At this pick, I'm taking that every single draft without even a question. Especially if I'm a pick 17 team where I already have a solid defense. These teams have some pieces, some vets, some guys. Dude, that is a home run. I think they would be they would be more than over the moon if they got Jordan Davis there to pair with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So yeah, Chargers, you better start praying they don't get him because that team would be that's not even, I don't even want to think about it. So
yeah, the best two spots for him would be Baltimore or the Chargers, in my opinion. Baltimore because he could learn behind Calais Campbell, and the Chargers because their defensive line is so stacked anyways. He doesn't really have to do much to start shining. Like the attention's not going to be on him, so he can feast.
They would be over the moon. I think that's an absolute A+ pick. So yeah, if he slips there, which I think it would be kind of a slip, because I think he's terrific. I really do. I think all the dudes in the world. It's a great pick. Pick 18. Eagles back on the board, and a lot of guys still here. A lot of dudes. I think I'm not gonna. I see. 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. I think with a sneaky pick here, I don't have the balls to do it, nor do I want to do it. But a sneaky pick, I don't want to be this guy. But a quarterback, I ain't doing it. But there's a lot of people who aren't me, but a lot of people who may even be within the draft room who think that Jalen Hurts isn't the answer, and maybe you want to see a little quarterback competition. I am not that guy, so I'm not advocating for it. But hey, I'm just saying, you staring down Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder right here, maybe Malik Willis. No, man. No, but no, I'm not going to do that. I think something that makes a lot of sense here that maybe some people are overlooking, or maybe not. Who knows? I think Jameson Williams here makes a lot of sense. I think if we're keeping Jalen Hurts and we believe in him, let's get an Alabama guy. Even though I don't think they play together, he might have been in Ohio State. I don't know. Let's get an Alabama guy. Let's get a dude who doesn't need to play right away, but good and damn well when he steps in, he's gonna be a beast. At least I for sure believe in him. And let's say best case scenario, Jameson Williams comes back for the playoffs, and the Eagles make the playoffs, and you've got Devontae Smith and Jameson Williams. Jalen Hurts just got a new weapon, so I think it makes a lot of sense to go for the home run. I think Jameson Williams is the ultimate best receiver in the draft. I don't really think it's that close. The only reason I don't have him top 10 is because of the injury. So Jameson Williams here. A lot of other spots, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense, especially the way that the NFL is trending right now. It started kind of with Joe Burrow getting his guy and Jamar Chase, and then Tua getting Jalen Waddle. And then even this offseason with Derek Carr getting his college teammate, Devontae Adams. I think that trend is just going to continue. Because honestly, I think teams are starting to figure out that if you have that chemistry and that timing between your quarterback and receiver, it really makes things click. So I think Jameson Williams is a great pick for the Eagles there. With the Saints on the board, you took Chris Olave earlier. I know you mentioned that Jordan Davis was in play for that pick. I could see them adding another D tackle. I honestly think that they'll take Devontae Wyatt with this pick. He's not as big as Jordan Davis, but he's definitely more athletic. I mean, testing wise at the combine, they pretty much tested the same, which is absolutely insane. But on film, you can definitely tell that Devontae Wyatt has that first step quickness that makes him a little bit different than Jordan Davis. And if you combine that with a Marcus Davenport, Cameron Jordan coming off the edge, the Saints definitely could get after the quarterback a lot more. And you're going to need that if you're going up against Brady twice a year.
Yeah. It's a great pick. I think in hindsight, if I could redo my pick, I think maybe the Saints even go D tackle first and then go, because I think there's a good chance for Salabi here at this pick. But either way, Devontae Wyatt's a great pick. I think Harrington with Cameron Jordan on the inside helps them out a lot so they can stop getting cooked in the run. Even though they don't get cooked in the run, but still, I mean, it's a great pick. Excuse me, great pick. Steelers, interesting spot. Possible trade back scenario if either A, quarterbacks are gone, or B, who knows, just possible trade back scenario, or trade up, I guess, for other teams who might want. It's maybe a Malik Willis slips down here. Maybe some team trades up. Maybe Jordan Davis slips here, team trade up. But I think the easy pick here, if it's not Malik Willis, in my opinion, quarterback is an absolute no-brainer. I don't care how bad the quarterback room is this year. There's no way in hell, no reason in hell, unless someone slips, that the Steelers do not get a quarterback. I know Dylan, Steelers fan, word to Dylan, says that they should not get a quarterback in the whole draft. I think that is just fucking lunacy. Like, in what world do you have Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback week 1, and you're like okay with that? I'm sorry, I just don't think. And you're a competing proud franchise. And it's not like some trash team, It's just like a proud franchise that wants to compete with the Ravens, the Bengals. They're getting a quarterback. Who it might be, who knows? Could it be Malik? Could it be Matt Corral? Could it be Desmond? Could it be Kenny? I'm just gonna go with the guy that went to Pittsburgh, and it seems to make sense. So can't pick it. Makes too much sense. Could be a number of quarterbacks. I don't even think Kenny Pickett's the best quarterback in the draft. I'm not a huge believer in him, but I like yards and I like Pittsburgh, so can't pick it.
Yep. I mean, I like the pick. It makes sense. Hometown guy, went to Pitt.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mike Tomlin hasn't been shy about his crush for Malik Willis, but they'd have to trade up pretty far to get Willis, unless for some odd reason he has like a Lamar Jackson slide. But I think that's only going to happen once. I mean, Lamar's made everybody else pretty much pay for letting him slide, so it'd be pretty dumb to do that again. Looking at the Patriots here, I mean, it seems like the Patriots always draft either like an interior O lineman, interior D lineman, or a linebacker in these positions. Looking at the roster, they're transitioning to a 4-3 defense. I know that for the longest time they've been a 3-4. Their linebacker room, I know that they traded for Mac Wilson. They currently have Juwan Bentley still. They dropped, well, they didn't drop, but he's a free agent still with Deontay Hightower. In my opinion, Devin Lloyd here makes a lot of sense. I'm going to end up going with Devin Lloyd. I think Devin Lloyd potentially could go a lot higher than 21, simply because of Micah Parsons' production and how Devin Lloyd not only is good in coverage, but he is a good pass rusher, very similarly to Micah Parsons was coming out of Penn State. He might not be as polished, but to be honest, I don't think anybody expected Parsons to jump on the scene quite as fast as he did. Um, so with that being said, I think Devin Lloyd has a chance to go top 15. So if he drops to the Patriots at 21, I'm sure they're going to swoop him up.
Yeah, yeah. I think after the team, I think it's very much in play. Devin Lloyd is the Eagles, one of their two picks. But if not them, it makes a lot of sense here as well. And I think also that's just a great value pick. Like that, at which the Patriots, it's super cliche, but like the Patriots do every draft. It seems like it's just get the dude who's like the valuable, like, oh, that's a good pick. Oh, that's a good pick. Oh, that's a good pick. Like it happens every year. So I think that they get Devin Lloyd there and you put him in that scheme. Good things happen. So yeah, good pick. Would have liked to have seen him slip to me at 22 to the Packers because I think the Packers would love to get him here, which makes this pick sort of difficult, but not really. There's an obvious pick here, in my opinion. If he's on the board, of course. He's starting to slip since like months ago. I remember I was watching Arkansas play, and I was like texting you. I was like, dude, this dude looks like a fucking like top 10 pick. Like he's looking goated. But for whatever reason, he started to slip a little bit. I feel like he went from being like wide receiver 1, 2 to like what is it, 5 in our draft, 4. I don't know, who knows. But I think Trayvon Walker is here. Aaron Rodgers won't be there forever in the conversation. Get a receiver who can come in and play. If you buy into Aaron Rodgers, like that's your guy, which he is obviously. Just keep getting receivers, keep the guy happy. He's an egomaniac. Keep filling in dudes who can show up, play, and catch balls. Even though I really do not think that they need him, I actually really believe in Al Mazar this year. How I will probably drop him fantasy with my like last pick. I like Al Mazar a lot. I think he's a great receiver, but you can give me a guy like Trayvon Burks who day one's gonna step in and catch 750 yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm cool with that. So, Trayvon Burks.
Yeah, I mean, home run pick for the Packers. The only reason Burks is here is because he didn't run as fast as people wanted him to. But honestly, like all the best receivers in the league, outside of like Tyreek Hill, didn't run like 4.3 or 4.2. So, I mean, if the guy catches everything you throw to him, what more can you ask for? So, Cardinals here at 23. Obviously, it says the team needs a corner edge receiver. The receiver room isn't too bad. They retain pretty much all their same guys. What they did lose was Chandler Jones. So I think edge makes a ton of sense here. Corner does too, but I think they could wait. They added Jeff Gladney. He was a first-round pick just a couple years ago, which gives them some depth. Honestly, Karlaftis would be a cool pick, but they run a 3-4-D, and if you take him, he's probably going to be undersized. I don't think he'd be a good stand-up pass rusher like they need. So I'm actually going to go Boye Mafe.
Wow. Okay. Not a bad pick at all. That's a good pick.
Mafe is, I mean, I don't even think he was like on the radar for a first-round pick until he showed up to the Senior Bowl and just started beating dudes up. And everybody's like, hold up, wait a second, who is this guy? Then he comes to the combine and he tests super well. And, one thing leads to another. This guy is definitely like damn near a first-round lock, if not an early day 2 pick. So, Boye Mafe is my guy.
Yeah, I thought for sure when you were explaining everything that you were going to go Karlaftis, just based off, I don't know, top edge left. But I like the pick as well. And that analysis of him being the 3-4, the better, cleaner 3-4 fit makes a lot of sense. So I'm cool with that. It's a good pick. Um, Cowboys, interesting pick. I do not know what they're doing here. I'm going to be very honest. Um, I think there's a lot of ways they can go, but at the end of the day, I think it's either A. I mean, I think everyone can do analysis, but it's either A, offensive line. So a guy like Linderbaum makes a lot of sense. A guy like Zion Johnson makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. If I was a GM, as I've said earlier with my Panthers pick, I really like. If I'm a GM, keeping my fans happy. I like keeping butts in seats. I like getting people talking about my team. So I think it makes a lot of sense for them to go for guys that the fans are going to get excited by. They're going to be like, oh shit, we got that guy. Or like, oh, that's going to be fun. So I'm going to swing for the fence a little bit here. I'm going to get a little weird. I'm going to go Andrew Booth, corner. Give me two playmaking corners. Give me two guys who the fans are like, oh, we got Booth, we got Trayvon Diggs. Give me two guys who can get interceptions, who can make plays, who can be a little crazy sometimes. I'm cool with that. That works for me. Secondary, if it's not a corner, I think they're getting a safety. So maybe a guy like Daxton Hill makes a lot of sense there. Maybe a guy like Karlaftis makes a lot of sense. But give me a playmaker who's going to be an interesting Cowboy. Him and Trayvon, that seems like a lot of interceptions to me. So yeah, that's my thinking there.
Yeah, good pick. On the Bills here, I'm a little disappointed because I think that they take a corner. Right now, they have Tre'Davious White. Their second corner is Cyron Neal, Karen Johnson, Cam Lewis, Dane Jackson, Elijah Griffin, Nick McLeod. Seems like for the past couple years, honestly, since Tre'Davious White's been picked, everybody's like, all right, you need to get a running mate to go along with White. Because Tre'Davious White's definitely that QB1. You just need, if they could have a solidified CB2, I think that defense could make a huge jump. With that being said, I'm going to take Kaiir Elam. I think Elam is very physical. Plays press man. I think the Bills like doing that, especially with Tre'Davious White. So you could have two press man corners on the outside and make life very difficult. I remember when Brady was in New England, the only way to beat him was to run man-to-man coverage. Obviously, they don't have Brady anymore, but it's still the same system. So if the Bills can run man-to-man, I think they can run the AFC East for years to come.
Interesting. All right, Kaiir Elam's off the board. Obviously, I'm super biased. Gators fan. Obviously, I think he's a great player. Only reason I didn't go him over Booth because I actually think Kaiir Elam's better than him, just because of SEC bias. But it's just because name brand and just highlight real plays. Honestly, it's kind of maybe a childish take, but yeah, I think Kaiir Elam's fantastic, and I think that's a fantastic pick for him to go. So I also don't know if he'll slip out. Surprised we haven't mentioned him earlier. I'd be sort of surprised if he goes to 25. I think the Patriots are an interesting spot for him, but the Bills getting Kaiir Elam would be kind of annoying because that's another great player in the draft.
Yeah.
Titans, lots of spots here, lots of interesting spots here. Could be a trade back scenario. But I think one position that just seems like a Titans pick is just to bolster their O-line. Just keep saying, dude, Derrick Henry's our guy. We're getting guys in front of him that can block. I see Zion Johnson too. I'm going to go once again SEC bias. Whenever it comes down to two players, I almost unanimously go SEC bias. And I'm going to get probably the best pure run blocker on the board. Arguably, I'm not the best offensive line grader, but Kenyon Green, A&M, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm fairly certain their guards are cheap right now. You might be able to fact check me on that, but I don't think I can even think of who their starting guard is. So give me Kenyon Green, give me a road grader, give me a dude who is going to start, 16 games. So Kenyon Green.
Yeah, their starting left guard right now is Aaron Brewer, so he would definitely fill a need.
So
For the Bucks, they really don't have a ton of holes. I know that they lost, what was his name, Ali Marpet, and their other guard, I believe. But they filled one of those gaps with Shaq Mason. And they retained Aaron Stinney to be their left guard. The receiver room is still good. Their defensive line rotation's pretty solid. They pretty much retained their whole defensive back room. They did lose Jordan Whitehead, but they added Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal. This is a tough pick, to be honest. I think they go interior O-line. I think it's probably between Johnson or Linderbaum. I know like people are lower on Linderbaum than they were before the combine because he has super short arms. But as they always say, tape don't lie. So I'm gonna take Linderbaum here. And I know they have Ryan Jensen, but they could probably either move Jensen or just let Linderbaum sit a season. Actually, nah, screw it. I'm gonna take Zion Johnson. Okay. I think Johnson could start over Stinney. If they didn't have Ryan Jensen, I think Linderbaum would be the pick, but I don't know. Looking at Aaron Stinney is like the only thing that's bugging me about their depth chart right now. I mean, other than maybe a defensive tackle, but I don't know. They still have Vita Vea, William Golston, Rakeem Nunez-Roches. I don't know. They have enough talent that they're fine, and their edges are still good. They have Shaq Barrett, Anthony Nelson, Joe Tryon, who's decent as a rookie. So I'm gonna stick with Johnson. But they could go a multitude of different directions for sure.
Yeah. Packers, I believe. I think, yep, pick 28. Packers are back on the board. Interesting spot. I went Treylon Burks first pick. In an interesting world, maybe another wide receiver drops, maybe another one. Also, quarterback is a sneaky play here, but I don't think they risk getting another quarterback who might be dog shit like Jordan Love. Even though, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if I'm the GM, I'd probably consider taking a stab on a Sam Howell right here, going swinging for the fences. You never know. But I think this is a tough pick. I'm going to go. I'm seeing their starting offensive guard being John Runyon, and their center being Josh Myers. I'm not sure how good they are. Let's go ahead. Actually, no, I got an idea. Okay. Let's go ahead and get a guy who's not going to play this year at all. But whenever he plays, he's going to make an impact, maybe as a player. Let's go David Ajabo. He slipped. The only reason he slipped because of injuries. They have the means to be able to look to the guy. So sorry, Aaron Rodgers can't get you anymore help. We're going to get a guy who next year will be a starter and will be very good for us. David Ajabo.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a great pick. You get the two Michigan freaks to pair up Rashawn Gary and David Ajabo. That would set the Packers up for the future for sure. They'd have a nasty edge rush duo that's very young. The first of the two Chiefs picks, I think one of these picks has to be receiver. They added Juju. They added Marquise Valdez-Scantling. They still have Nicole Hardman, Josh Gordon. Um, but I mean, if Juju, MVS, or McCole gets hurt, it's going to leave a pretty big gaping hole. And I don't think you want to do that to Mahomes. For me, it's between Pickens and Watson. I'm a huge fan of George Pickens' game. He got injured, which is why he's probably ranked 53. But honestly, I think he's a first-round receiver. Because the Chiefs are a track star team, I'm gonna go ahead and take Watson here. He's fast as hell. He's big. He's got decent hands. He can improve on adjusting to the deep ball for sure, but Mahomes will get him right. Mahomes will get him right for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I pick. Good pick. I think Chiefs, if they're not trading up here, rather than trading up earlier, and they sit back and just wait for these two picks, I think they're in kind of a weird spot. I don't love best available right here. You could argue with Jackson Hill. I'm sure a lot of people will be calling Jackson Hill this year right here. Personally, I think their safeties are honestly damn near Pro Bowl talents. I'm going to go on a limb. So I don't think safety is a smart pick here. And I don't like the corners left, as in more than who I'm about to say. So I'd consider, if I'm them, praying that Kyrie Elo or boot slips, because if one of them slips, I think it's a lock for the second pick. But I'm gonna go on a limb here, a guy who's once again probably not gonna slip this far. But if he does, I think they're over the moon if they get one Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, linebacker. Let's finally get a player who can look at our, not finally, but we can look at our defense and say, you circle that guy and say, all right, we got to be careful. Nakobe Dean's going sideline to sideline, chasing people down, making plays over the field. Also, possibly a player when you look back in the draft and you're like, damn, Nakobe Dean at 29, we let the Chiefs get him. And that's crazy. I think just like maybe even a Devin Lloyd, it's a situation like that, even a David Jabo situation, looking back at the bottom of this first round, like, damn, pick 29, the Kansas City Chiefs who need linebackers, get out of good game. So I'll go with a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's two great picks for the Chiefs, in my opinion. Yeah. Those two holes, and not only that, but gives them depth. For the Bengals, before free agency, everybody was like, this pick's offensive tackle, this pick's offensive tackle, but picking up Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, their O-line is pretty solid, to be honest. Their D-line's good. They got Hubbard, DJ Reader, BJ Hill, Trey Hendrickson. Linebackers, they're all young and good. You know, you got Wilson, Pratt, Marcus Bailey, Akeem Davis-Gaither. I think they're pretty set there. Safeties, you know, they probably got one of the best in the game, Jesse Bates. Lon Bell has been decent at the strong position. One position I think that they could add some depth, and, you know, picking 31st, this is a perfect time to address depth, would be the corner position. Chidobe Awuzie was graded out by PFF as elite last year. Eli Apple had his moments of good and bad. He might be like a late bloomer, but, you know, he's not the worst, but he's not the greatest. They do have Mike Hilton, Trey Flowers. If I were them, I'd probably add another corner, just because I'm pretty sure 3 of the 4 top corners they got were recently signed free agents. I'm not sure how much they have left on their contracts. And you always want to have a young guy that you can develop. So with that being said, honestly, it could be any one of these 3. McCreary is good. People have concerns about his arm length. Gordon's good. He's a agile freak. He's kind of like a Jair Alexander, and Tariq Woolen's just an all-world athlete. Based on tape and production, I'm gonna take Roger McCreary here.
Okay.
I know that like people talk about his arm length, but honestly, the way he was winning reps in press man coverage against the SEC opponents solidifies his pick for me here. I mean, tape don't lie. The guy was shutting dudes down while winning, press reps, which is impressive. So on the Bengals, I'm taking McCreary there based on who's left at the corner position.
I love my SEC corners. I do. I love pressing on corners. It's my style, so I think it's a good pick for them. Last, but not certainly possible trade back scenario, even though they 100% shouldn't. 100, I will reiterate, 1 billion% should not trade back here if you guys are on the board, because I'm eyeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who make way too much sense here at 32, who have a ton of value. So I'll just go through all of them quickly. Dead night. First, we got Desmond Ridder. I think. Well, let's go both quarterbacks. Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell. Or I guess I could just say whatever quarterback is like maybe crazy somehow scenario. Malik Willis slips all the way through, and the Lions go, wow. Lamar Jackson type scenario, but that's not gonna happen. But Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell are here. I think one of them makes a lot of sense. Personally, I'm a little higher on Sam Howell because if I'm picking in a draft like this, I'm going a little bit for ceiling. So Sam Howell, the Lions makes a lot of sense. Ridder makes a lot of sense because Jared Goff, everyone knows, is not the future there. But if it's not that, then I think the second option is a Daxton Hill, because I don't think there's a great chance that Daxton Hill slips out of the first round. He's a first round talent. I think both of us would agree. So Daxton Hill. And then third, George Karlaftis. You get Trayvon Walker with your first pick, and the ability to take George Karlaftis as your second pick. Oof, I don't know. That could be scary. So with all that nonsense being said, I'm not going to go Daxton Hill. Sorry. Just because they just got Mr. Deshaun Elliott. Sorry, Daxton Hill. I don't think you're the pick here. And I'm not going to go George Karlaftis, even though you got a formidable pass rush duo. I am going to go quarterback. And you know what? I am going to go Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell makes a lot of sense. I think, why not? Let's end the night with a quarterback, just like, 2018 draft. Get the guy who maybe midway through the year, or even in training camp, probably not though, replaces Jared Goff, because Jared Goff stinks, and I'm a young coach. I want a young quarterback to pair with me. So it's probably not going to happen. I'm sure Matt Corral goes before him. I'm sure Desmond Ridder goes before him, but you know what? I'm going Sam Howell here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't hate on it. You never know with quarterbacks.
No.
Well, that concludes our first round mock draft. I want to thank Donovan for hopping on with me. It was a fun time.
Always.
Pretty sure we did a decent job. I mean, how the board fell, I feel like we identified needs and, found the talent to fill them. Really, none of these I can really fault or say that's a reach or anything, For the teams that pick these players, I think it checks out. Most of them were pretty smart picks in my opinion. So yeah, thanks again. Be on the lookout. We might be doing a NFL draft special. Still got to ask some guys if they want to do a live stream, but yeah, be on the lookout for that if that happens.
Sir, always pleasure, man.